There was once a root so rare, so intoxicatingly sweet, that the Roman Emperor Tiberius refused gold and demanded it instead. A plant so prized, it crossed borders not in trade, but as tribute. For centuries, it fed monks during famine, dazzled royal chefs, and was whispered about in ancient texts as the sugar of the soil. And then, it vanished. Not because it failed, but because it refused to be tamed. Today, you won't find it in any supermarket. There's no neat plastic bag, no barcode, no brightly colored shelf. This isn't just a forgotten crop, it's a symbol of everything we lost when food became business. So what happened to the emperor's root? Why did we abandon a vegetable more nutritious, more flavorful, and more resilient than nearly anything we eat today? That answer lies buried beneath centuries of soil, and the truth is far sweeter, and stranger, than you think. Skirret doesn't look like food. Not modern food, at least. Beneath the soil, it doesn't grow like a carrot or parsnip, a single, tidy root pointing downward. No, Skirret is chaos incarnate. It erupts into a tangled mass of white, finger-like roots, twisting in every direction like a buried treasure hoard waiting to be unearthed. To the industrial farmer, it's a nightmare. To ancient royalty, it was divine. And here's the kicker, Skirret doesn't die after harvest. Unlike modern root crops, which must be ripped up and replanted every year, Skirret is a perennial. You plant it once, and it forms a living colony underground. Season after season, it quietly multiplies, feeding you again and again without the need for chemicals, tilling, or constant care. It's not just food, it's a biological engine. Each cluster of roots is packed with sugars, like nature's antifreeze, designed to help the plant survive brutal winters. And because it's storing energy for the long haul, those roots don't just taste sweeter, they are sweeter. But sweetness wasn't the problem. Skirret's problem? It was too wild. Too messy. Too difficult to package in a plastic bag. The supermarket didn't reject Skirret because it wasn't good enough. It rejected it because it couldn't be controlled. On the surface, Skirret looks humble, pale, crooked roots clumped together like something out of a medieval garden. But under the microscope, it's a bombshell. Modern carrots. About 88% water. Tastes sweet, but barely holds any real substance. Skirret. It laughs at that. Lab tests from a 1989 international symposium showed that Skirret delivers a dry matter content of 16%, that's 60% more actual food in every bite. No fluff. No filler. Just dense, mineral-rich nourishment. And then there's the sugar. A typical store-bought carrot offers 4.7 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Respectable. But Skirret crushes it, coming in between 10 to 15 grams per 100 g. And not just any sugar. According to the study, 65% of Skirret's dry mass is pure sucrose, the sweetest, most potent natural sugar. This wasn't some accident of nature. For centuries, cultures across Europe called it what it was, the sugar root. The Danish, the Dutch, the Germans, all had names that translated exactly the same way. They knew. Everyone did. But here's the twist, it wasn't just sugar. Skirret carried complexity. It wasn't a flat, one-note sweetness. Its flavor had depth, hints of nut, earth, and spice. More than a vegetable, it was a delicacy. So why was this nutrient-rich, sugar-packed marvel left behind? Because something smoother came along. And it wore a brighter color. Emperor Tiberius could have anything, exotic meats, rare wines, delicacies from the farthest corners of the empire. But there was one thing he craved above all else, Skirret. According to the ancient historian Pliny the Elder, Tiberius was obsessed. But he didn't want just any Skirret. He refused the varieties grown in warm Italian soil. Instead, he demanded it be imported, specifically from the cold, harsh Rhineland. And he didn't pay for it in coin. He demanded it as tribute. Think about that. This wasn't trade. It was taxation in roots. Conquered Germanic tribes were required to send him bundles of skirret, while gold and silver remained untouched. To the Roman elite, this wasn't a vegetable. It was a confection. A status symbol. A culinary obsession. But the story doesn't end with emperors. Long after Rome fell, skirret endured. It became a lifeline for monks during the darkest time of year, the Hungry Gap. That late winter stretch when grain stores ran dry, apples rotted in cellars, and spring crops hadn't yet sprouted. While others starved, the monks dug deep, literally, pulling skirret from half-frozen earth in March, when almost nothing else would grow. Sweet, starchy, frost-proof. It became their secret weapon. And it wasn't just survival food. In 1390, the royal chefs of King Richard II featured it in the Fermi of Curry, the cookbook of the English crown. They battered it into golden fritters, baked it with chestnuts and bone marrow, turned it into sweet pies worthy of kings. For over 1,000 years, skirret didn't just feed the powerful, it carried entire communities through famine and frost. So how did such a miracle crop vanish? The answer begins not in a field, but in a mirror. Skirret didn't die out. It was overthrown. Before the 1600s, carrots weren't orange. They came in purples, whites, and yellows, often knobby, bitter, and tough. But then came the Dutch. Not just farmers, image makers. They didn't just breed for taste or nutrition. They bred for symbolism. Their target? The color orange, the proud hue of the ruling house of Orange. But something else happened. They refined the carrot's shape, smooth, straight, perfectly geometric. No tangles. No odd limbs. Just a flawless cone that slid from the soil in one pull. And suddenly, skirret looked wrong. Next to this shiny, obedient newcomer, skirret's tangled roots seemed primitive. Messy. In a growing marketplace, where food was no longer just nourishment but commerce, the race wasn't about flavor, it was about visual appeal. Buyers ate with their eyes. Bright color won. Uniform shape sold. And in the age of markets and mass trade, skirret was everything the new food system hated. It didn't stack neatly in a crate. It didn't peel easily. It didn't look modern. The carrot became the soldier of industrial farming, disciplined, streamlined, and photogenic. Skirret. It was the wild poet, unruly, eccentric, and difficult to manage. And in the cold logic of commerce, there was no room for poetry. Skirret wasn't defeated in the soil. It was executed in the factory. Its downfall wasn't caused by pests, blight, or poor yields. In fact, it thrived with minimal care. What killed it was efficiency. You see, skirret's greatest strength, its cluster of roots, became its fatal flaw in the age of machines. Those twisted, gnarled white fingers trapped dirt in every crevice. And no matter how advanced the technology, no industrial washer could clean it properly. No peeler could navigate its unpredictable shape. No conveyor belt could process it without clogging. It demanded a human touch. And that made it unacceptable. Because by the 20th century, food wasn't about flavor, it was about throughput. Crops were measured not in taste or resilience, but in how fast they could be planted, harvested, processed, and sold. Skirret didn't fit that mold. It refused to be rushed. It didn't align with the hard lines of a shipping crate. It didn't submit to a uniform barcode. It wasn't fast. It wasn't neat. It wasn't scalable. So it was blacklisted. Seed catalogs quietly dropped it. Commercial farmers stopped planting it. Supermarkets stopped selling it. And within 2 generations, it vanished, not because it failed as a plant, but because it failed as a product. That's not just a loss. It's a warning. Here's where the story gets twisted. Today, governments and biotech giants are spending billions to develop crops that can survive drought, And now, in the middle of a climate crisis, the world is scrambling to reverse engineer what Skirret did naturally. That's not just ironic. That's tragic. This isn't just an ancient crop. It's an ancient cheat code. Skirret isn't seasonal. It's not something you have to baby or replant each year like modern vegetables. You plant it once, just once, and what you get is a living food machine. Underground, it forms a dense cluster of roots. When it's ready, you dig up a mature clump, snap off the fattest, sweetest white fingers for your kitchen, and then you put the crown back in the soil. That's it. No fertilizer. No rototiller. No seedling trays or grow lights. It just regrows, again and again, like clockwork. While modern agriculture builds billion-dollar systems to fight nature, Skirret works with it. It propagates itself. It stores energy through the winter. It thrives in harsh conditions. It laughs at frost. And in the kitchen, it's a revelation. The flavor hits somewhere between carrot and parsnip, but with this subtle nuttiness, an aromatic echo of parsley or celery. It's not one-dimensional. It's layered. Complex. Alive. It tastes like something from another era because it is. And once you taste it, once you grow it, you start to wonder. Why did we ever give this up? Planting Skirret today isn't just gardening. It's rebellion. It's a refusal to let corporations decide what food should look like. A rejection of vegetables bred for shelf life instead of sustenance. It's a quiet, dirt-under-the-fingernails revolt against the plastic-wrapped, flavorless status quo. And the wild part? It's already happening. Skirret isn't extinct. It's not gone. It's just been buried, in seed bank vaults, in old monastic gardens, in the memories of people who still remember what real food used to taste like. Now, small-scale growers are rediscovering it. Seed companies are cautiously reintroducing it. Backyard rebels, people like you, are planting it not just for harvest, but for independence. Because growing Skirret is more than raising food. It's saying no. No to blandness. No to uniformity. No to crops that collapse the moment the weather turns. It's a personal act with global implications. You don't need acres. You don't need chemicals. You don't need to wait for the food system to change. All you need is a patch of soil, and the willingness to remember what emperors once knew. We didn't lose Skirret. We buried it. Not in soil, but under convenience. Under plastic packaging. Under marketing slogans and machines that told us food should be fast, uniform, and easy to stack. But Skirret never stopped growing. It's still out there, in the cracks of forgotten gardens, in the margins of seed catalogs, in the hands of those who refuse to let ancient flavor die. This wasn't just a vegetable. It was a tribute paid to emperors. A survival tool for monks. A luxury for kings. A miracle of nature that required no help, only patience. And we traded it, for carrots that stack better in a crate. But here's the secret Big AG doesn't want you to know: you can still plant it. You can still taste it. You can still reclaim it. Growing Skirret today is more than reviving a root. It's remembering what the food system forgot. It's tasting history. And it's choosing, for once, not to settle for the easy option. Because some treasures were never meant to be mass-produced. They were meant to be found.